Okay, today we're going to deal with homosexuality, schizophrenia, and gambler's luck. If you don't know, this is AAR Aman Ashranu from ashranu.com. These were questions that were asked on separate occasions. I decided to deal with them equally or collectively because they deal with the same energy. The energy that they deal with is the planetary energy of Uranus. Uranus has rulership over homosexuality, transsexualism, schizophrenia, and gambler's luck, even though it's not really spoken about that much from those angles. Why? Let's take it to the brain waves. Because the initial question was, how do you know the difference between schizophrenia and revelation? How do you know when the spirit is speaking to you versus you are going crazy, essentially? How can you tell the difference? The answer is simple. Brain waves. When you are connecting with the divine or the unconscious mind, which is utilizing these energies constructively, you are tapping into delta brainwave states or delta brain waves. This is the slowest brain waves. So you are essentially tapping into your unconscious mind. On the other hand, when it comes to schizophrenia, when it comes to gambler's luck, when it comes to homosexuality, this is dealing with gamma brain waves, which is one level above beta or beta brain waves. For those who may not understand the brain waves, delta, unconscious mind. Beta is the conscious mind. Beta brain waves is like you have to be active in processing information. So if you're at school, you're at work, you have to be active and aware of your environment and processing information at every second. This is beta. This is also what makes people anxious, anxiety, all these things. That's the flip side. That's beta brainwaves. Now, a step above beta brainwaves is gamma brainwaves. These are the brainwaves where, if we're dealing with Uranus, because you can connect gamma with Uranus, this is the energy of higher logic or higher intelligence. For example, to study the human brain takes a higher level of intelligence. You have to tap into your Uranus versus your Mercury, because Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury. So Mercury deals with logic and problem solving, so on and so forth. Uranus, on the other hand, being a higher octave of Mercury, now deals with high science. You have to go to college for. You have to study the occult, so on and so forth. So astrology will be deemed a Uranian study or Uranian energy. So because we are dealing with homosexuality, because we know at a certain point in time it was classified as a mental disease. So the question comes up, were they accurate or were they completely wrong? And people are born this way, they are not created. It's not about circumstance, it's about energy, right? Well, to answer these questions, we look towards Uranus. Being that Uranus rules over these energies, and we understand Uranus to be a higher octave of Mercury, and we are currently experiencing a Mercury retrograde, which happens, 3, maybe 4 times a year. In the times of the Mercury retrograde, it is said to represent the cleansing of Mercury. So essentially, the way I describe it is when a planet is in retrograde, it is cleansing itself or it is in its spiritual state, like the Buddha and the astral plane versus the Buddha in physical reality. And the Buddha, of course, representing us. When you have awareness that you are the all and there is no disconnection, regardless of deed. Let's take it a step further. Knowing that these energies, now that we understand, okay, this is the planet Uranus. Homosexuality, transgenderism is not a mental disease, rather a planetary vibration. So you can say those who are homosexual, those who are transsexual, and the various other sexuals, pansexual, there's so many. You can say that these people are vibrating at the rate or frequency of Uranus. To simplify it so that we don't have to confuse ourselves with this. Next, with the gambler's luck, what causes a gambler to experience luck? Because we know with gambling, there's a constant up and down, up and down, up and down. But a true gambler, the spirit of a gambler, is able to detect the patterns of those up and down waves and strike gold when the time is precise. It is ultimately a science, a high science. Gambling is a high science, even though, of course, most people play it. But most people don't understand it. They are hoping and wishing, but lacking understanding of what energy rules over, let's just say, the lottery. This is all Uranus, a higher octave of Mercury. So all of these things that are vibrating, because once again, Uranus is a higher octave. So because Uranus is a outer planet, it is not within the inner solar system. It is within the outer solar system, or the outer chakras. You got the inner chakras, the 7, then you got the outer chakras, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Because Uranus is in the outer worlds, this is why it appears strange. All of the things that exist in the outer worlds will appear strange in the physical world because it goes beyond Saturn. So those who are more influenced by Neptune, for example, are the fanatics, people who are very fanatical, highly, powerfully emotional, and these people appear to be crazy to us. Outer bounds. And lastly, Pluto, the ones who are obsessed with money or obsessed with power. These people appear to be very strange and odd and ruthless and all of the things that we associate with these type of aggressive, ruthless, aggressive people. This is Plutonian energy. Everything that exists beyond Saturn will be strange, will be looked at differently. It needs to be examined by psychic eyes. You must put on your psychic eyes to understand what occurs in the outer limits. So when it comes to gambling, those who play the lottery and trying to win it, you must tap into the energy of Uranus, step outside of the bounds of the physical. The fanatics, the ones who are the actors, the ones who can bring a different dimension to this reality. The mediums, the channelers. The Neptunian or the Neptunian energy is very strange, but you must seek deeper understanding to understand those type of individuals. Why are they so emotional and very serious with their emotional expression? We had to go beyond the limits, and so on and so forth. So these things, these topics are not going to appear and will never be deemed normal or accepted by the entire world. The entire world would never accept homosexuality, transgenderism, gambling, and schizophrenia in terms of deeming schizophrenia. It is a real thing, but without the knowledge, we're lost. So we can get twisted up in words and think, if you go to a doctor and you get classified as schizophrenic, you can then compare that information with real knowledge. Like, actually, no, I'm not actually schizophrenic. I'm more delta versus gamma, or I'm more gamma versus delta. Knowing how to classify these realities makes everything so simple to explore in depth individually. Peace.